Yvonne, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I
Happy
appreciate
to
it.
be here.
So let's begin our journey into public speaking and
Sure.
all the good work you're doing. And I want to ask you this. 6 years ago, this pandemic changed everything
Yeah.
about what we did
Yeah.
in person, the way we saw the world. How did you get through the coronavirus era, and how has it changed the way that you approach things now?
Honestly, Joe, COVID was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. No, I'm dead serious. Okay, so
Sure.
let me get for there's a couple of reasons, okay? Here's the first reason. In 2017, I created a course with the University of Toronto called Communication Strategies for a Virtual Age,
Yeah. Wow.
which did nothing for 2 years. Like, whatever, a couple of
Yeah.
people joined it. 2020 hit. All of a sudden, like 100,000 people signed up for this course.
Uh-huh.
So right away, it was like, wow. I was getting, to this day, I still have ongoing clients that reached out to me. Hey, I took your course. Can you do this at my organization? So the whole course was about teaching people how to be engaging virtually.
Yeah.
The other really interesting thing about COVID is here's the truth, man. And this is every single person who is listening to us right now. There's not a person listening to us right now who isn't doing something else.
Right.
If you're watching this, Joe, you have a YouTube channel, yeah?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember, yeah. So for all the people who are on the podcast app, go to YouTube, find Joe right now so you can see what I'm doing. Imagine if you were talking to me, dude, and I went like this, and I put my phone up and started looking at it. That would be so rude.
Right.
But every single time you are on a virtual session, I guarantee that someone is like looking at their email or they put their phone in front of the screen. And here's the big realization. It's not harder to keep people engaged virtually. It's not.
Right.
It's just that virtually I don't have to be so polite. You could come in, talk, and the whole time I could be looking and doing my email. And then when you say, hey, do you have any questions? I'd be like, no questions. That was great. Thanks. And then I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally believe we got to change the world, man. Here's the thing. Nobody wants lectures. If COVID taught us anything, it is this. If I'm just passively watching and listening, I can do it on my own. There's no need for us to be together in a room. Yet, here's the cognitive dissonance. What is the one way we do every conference, every training? It's one person talking to a bunch of people who sit there quietly all day long.
Yeah.
COVID taught me to reverse it. So when I do my sessions in person and online, people are talking, doing, or demonstrating more than half the time. And that's what we need to change in every aspect of learning. Here's my one of my favorite sayings, Joe. And you have a music background, so there's when you say something nice, that's all you need. I'm a big hip hop guy, and there's a couple of lines in hip hop I'm just always thinking about. You know what I mean? And what I always say is learning only happens when the teacher isn't talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's so well said. What a great concept. And I think that was the part of living through this pandemic. It
Hmm.
gave everybody this latitude to dig in and to come up with groundbreaking ideas. Revert, just, to put a spin on what we were already doing, but do it in a different way that was more effective. We got
Yeah,
to recalibrate. We got to reset,
yeah.
so to speak, you know?
And here's the other thing. Listen, forget all these people on LinkedIn who are trying to teach you how to live their life. Like LinkedIn is full of coaches. I'm guilty of it too. We're all guilty of it, okay? But when I was researching communication, we got to start learning from people who actually do it, not from people who teach it.
Yeah.
And I know that's ironic coming from someone who teaches it. But here's the thing. Every single coach on anything is like, well, I was in marketing for 10 years. Therefore, I am an expert. Yeah, but you've never heard of these people.
Right. Yeah.
Who is better at keeping people engaged virtually than YouTube celebrities, Twitch streamers? Why aren't we learning what they're doing? Forget some dude. Oh my God, Joe, I'm getting all worked up right
I
now.
love it.
I remember when COVID happened, and I had a course with the University of Toronto on virtual engagement, and they made all of their instructors take a course from some third party guy on virtual engagement. And it was a 3 hour lecture where he just read his slide decks on Zoom.
Mm,
And he was a nice person,
sure.
but the amount of like people who don't practice what they preach, and I was so blown. I actually wrote a complaint. I was like, how dare you teach virtual engagement when you cannot engage people virtually?
Yeah.
You were just traditional style. And so the idea of we need to dramatically change the way we learn because here's the truth, Joe. This is again, everyone go to the podcast. What's the YouTube channel, Joe?
It's well, they can do neon jazz or famous interviews with Joe Dimino.
Done.
It'll come up. Yeah.
Yeah. Check it out because here's how everyone learns. I'm going to show you how everyone learns nowadays, right? Ready? Here we go.
Yep.
Here's how everyone teaches. Let me read these bullet points on a static page.
Yeah.
So there is a disconnect between the way we learn and the way we teach. And unless we can bridge that disconnect, all the things people worry about, how younger people aren't learning, the school system is breaking down, it's just going to get worse.
Absolutely. So let's get into what you do on a daily basis. Let's
Yeah, for sure.
synthesize everything. I'm going to put you in front
100%.
of 13-year-olds. It's career day, and the kid in the back of the room wants to know what you do for a living. What's your answer?
I teach public speaking skills and communication skills at universities, the corporate world. And when I'm not doing that, I MC events. So I practice what I preach. I'm that guy that, when you go into a football stadium, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem. And now, welcome to the stage. I do that kind of stuff.
I love it. I love those guys. And we
Yeah.
have great ones in Kansas City. There's a dude that I always talk to, and it's like, it's just, that's it. And if you didn't have that person, there'd be no way there would be the excitement. There's such a
Yeah.
backbone. It's very essential. So, what did you want to be at 13? What was your dream? Was it always being in front of the mic, in front of people?
Well, no, I mean, when I was 13, I had no idea what I wanted to be. Every day I wanted to be something different, and then I tried it, realized it was hard, and then didn't do it anymore. And like I remember I wanted to play hockey and then I tried ice skating and I hated it. I was like, I'm not doing that. I wanted to be a musician. And then you see this guitar? I've been trying to learn how to hit a C note on this guitar for like 6 years, dude. And I can't I'm just sitting there and I'm like fucking
I
C C you know what I mean?
yeah,
So what I found was, and it's interesting, is the only thing that haunts you is not knowing. I remember the first time I got shut down when I asked a girl out. I don't, it doesn't bother me at all because at least I tried. I still get bothered about the girl I never asked out.
uh-huh,
Same thing happened to me when I was doing things. I did something, oh, I don't like this at all. And I failed at it and I don't even worry about it. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did start trying lots of things.
yeah,
And the path, oh, someone said this really cool little, listen, if you're already walking down a path, it's not your path. You should only see the path when you look behind you.
yeah, yeah, totally. You know, Mark Twain, towards the end of his life, said he didn't regret anything he did. He regretted what he didn't do. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the cornerstone. So I'm curious. I was shy growing up, but I remember when I got into public speaking because I wanted to get
Yeah.
into sports broadcasting. I was like, let's go, let's do it.
Ooh.
And I remember that moment when I did my first speech, getting the note cards, doing all of that. And it was like there was a surge of adrenaline. I knew it was the big deal. People didn't like doing it, but I loved it. What was that
Yeah.
moment? When did public speaking click and make sense to you?
So for better or worse, I didn't do very well in high school. And so I had to get a job because I couldn't go to university because no one's gonna accept like a C minus student. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I went to like college and like try to redo courses. And while I was doing that, I got this job with a department of the government called the Ministry of the Attorney General's office. And generally it's basically the lawyer for the government. But this program, I got to travel around British Columbia, Canada, and do interactive workshops on racism and violence for like high schools, elementary schools, youth detention centers, teachers group, etc. So for 2 years, I was doing this. And I was like, damn, I really enjoy it. Like I love being in front of the crowd. I love that feeling of making people think. And that's what ignited it. Went to university, and it wasn't natural, by the way. I learned, right? And then I had experience. So by the time I actually went to university, I was the only person who had like several years of like very stressful speaking in front of like not friendly groups because like no 16-year-old wants to be told about like not fighting. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Or like, racism and violence. So by university, I became known as the guy who was really good at public speaking. Then after university, I got a job in finance. I burnt out of that. I got a job in sales, burnt out of that. I was a bookkeeper. I burnt out of that. I was a personal assistant. I worked as a temp. In all those jobs that I burnt out of, I was always the guy that's like, oh, Yvonne, can you do the presentation? I'm like, yeah, I'll do the presentation. Or like, can someone come up and speak? I'm like, yeah, I'll come up and speak. So it just became a thing. And then, as a side note, Joe, I also started learning how to dance. And I started teaching salsa dancing. And so I was speaking and I love teaching. Like, I love teaching. I still do it once in a while. So it became this thing of like, well, if this is the only thing I seem to be doing well that I enjoy, why not make a business out of it?
Yeah.
And that's why I did that. That's where it all came from.
So at the end of the day, when you look back on your career
Yeah.
and you pull the camera up and look at the city below, who's been that inspirational force, that hero that's allowed you to evolve and grow into knowing your place on this planet?
Oh man, I wish I'm still trying to find the hero. I think one of the biggest things that's held me back, Joe, is I never had a mentor. I never had someone who had walked a similar path. And that's why I try and be a mentor to anyone who asks me. So I have an open door policy. I teach at about 5 different universities across the world. For example, Georgia Tech and Texas Tech, for example. And I'll say any one of you students, if you're ever curious, you need to improve your communication, reach out to me. And I have students from like 10 years ago who write to me because when I was trying to learn how to make a business out of being a speaker, I reached out to other people and none of them wanted to talk to me because they all saw me as competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hated that. And dude, I feel like I'd be Dale Carnegie by now if I had a few mentors who were like, you know what? Let me show you how this works. If anyone needs one and I can't do it, I'll pass it on to you. Because I really believe that. And that, the only thing that I can even come remotely close to a mentor, it's not even a mentor, it's just something I heard. Eddie Murphy talking about, Dave Chappelle talking about Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Murphy actually confirming this. Eddie Murphy talked about like once you get and you are the success, it is your responsibility to light the path for the next generation.
Yeah.
So Eddie Murphy was notorious for being like, "You're an amazing comic. We got to make sure that you're a success." And Dave Chappelle's first part in any movie, his first part I think was in a Eddie Murphy show in
Yeah.
The Nutty Professor.
Okay.
And
That's it.
Chappelle talked about that, how Eddie Murphy said it's like and he feels the same way. It's my responsibility to like light the path and bring in the next person. Because that's part of becoming a success is making people successful around you, right?
It's the spoken unspoken of the jazz world as well. The elders are always
Yeah.
really big about teaching young cats and getting them learned up, and you hear about it all the
Yeah.
time, right?
Why
It's
not?
yeah.
In this world, though, it's not that way at
I
all.
know.
This is a terrible part of this world. Yeah. It
I
sucks. People are like, I struggled, so you must struggle. Well,
yeah,
no, that's not the point.
right.
The point is you struggle, you help someone else come up, and then a high tide raises all
That's
ships.
it. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. So I gotta know, what's the best
Yeah.
speech you've ever witnessed in your life? Like when you saw this, you were
Mm.
transformed because they were so good.
So I actually saw a speech, and now I'm forgetting her name. We'll have to pause it. As I explain this, I'm gonna
Yeah.
look her up.
Do it.
Okay.
Go. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
I explain this, I'm gonna look her up because
Yeah.
I speak at a lot of conferences, and I speak. So I hear a lot of keynote speakers, and a lot of them are good, but you can just tell they do the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
By the way, there's different types of speakers. Being a
Yeah.
keynote is ironically the easiest and most lucrative
Uh-huh.
at the same time
Yeah.
because you just pick that one speech, you just do that one speech for the rest of your life, and
Yep.
you know you're charging like 30 G's for it. And it's like I was
That's
at
right.
I was at an event, and I remember the guy had no idea who he was talking to. He literally said, "I'm sure what you all do is very important," and then he just kept going. And he was such a good speaker, no one realized it. But I was like, "Oh my God, this guy doesn't even know who he's talking to."
Oh
And
my.
you could see he was very Tony Robbins, you know what I'm saying? But you
Yeah.
could just tell that he just does the same thing over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And yeah, and I was so blown away by it. My type of speaking is more of the training interactive. I
yeah,
customize it for everyone. It's super hard, and for some reason, won't pay as much for it, which is very interesting.
that
But
is
anyway,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. Like for example, the bare minimum for a keynote speech in the industry, if you're like brand new, nobody knows, it's about 5,000.
Yeah.
Average is 10, and that's for 45 minutes to an hour. If you are a trainer, and let's say you're speaking on resilience, or you're a keynote speaker about communication, the importance of communication. Yeah, you can charge 10,000. If you want to train a group of people for 3 hours and you say 10,000, people be like, "Ooh, I don't know if that's in the budget." Very interesting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
one of the
that is.
great lawyers, one of the great, I said lawyers because she is a lawyer, speeches I saw, which was a keynote speech, but had a lot of not emotive ideas, but like thought-provoking ideas. Okay. There's two people that I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
The first is Haben Gurma.
Okay.
Haben Gurma, and you can look her up. Haben, Hbean, and Gurma, Girma, was deaf and blind, but graduated from Harvard Law.
Wow.
And she wrote a book, and she does the keynote circuit. But the most interesting thing she ever said, Joe, and think about this. This blew my mind, and hopefully it'll blow all you listeners. Stop washing your dishes. Get off the treadmill for a second. Her whole speech is about why we need to think of people who are disabled not as a cost on society, but as a source of innovation.
Yeah.
And she said, do you think voice to text came from someone wanting to do voice to text, or it came from someone adapting to someone who was blind or deaf or didn't have the use of their hands? And then she went on this whole list of all the things that we use all the time in our day-to-day life that started off as something to help the disabled.
Yeah.
She's like, do you like the radio? Earphones? Well, those weren't invented by people who wanted to make earphones. Those were invented by people who were hard of hearing,
Totally.
trying to help people who are hard of hearing. And I was like, oh my God,
Mind blown.
like
Yeah.
just mind blowing. Like, oh, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
And then the other guy is Sugata Mitra. And he's a speaker on education and learning. Sugata Mitra. He had the most popular TED Talk of all time, at least up until a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he's just like me. He's trying to revolutionize the way people learn. And he he really impacted me because
Yeah.
he's famous for doing this experiment, Joe. Dude, okay. He's Indian and he put a keyboard embedded into a wall in a slum outside of his university. And then he just recorded what happened. And he showed how these illiterate, non-English speaking kids within a day had figured out how to use the internet and were teaching other people how to use the internet.
Wow.
Totally undirected, no
Yeah.
teaching involved, just through trial and error.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
my son's on the spectrum, and I believe
Oh,
that special needs world, there is a level of them that has gifts, savant things that are a part of their world, and yeah,
absolutely.
they're definitely a gift to the world. So let me ask you this: what is the motivation every day for you to do this work at a high level, to change lives, to take care of your soul? What is that for you?
I am so lucky that I don't have a job, dude. I have a lifestyle.
Yeah,
There's no retirement. You're a musician. There's no retirement from music, from playing music. That's a calling.
yeah,
I am so lucky that, because I'm on a mission, dude. I'm on a mission to end boring. My book is called End Boring
yeah.
because there is an epidemic of boredom in this world, bro.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Joe, come on. When are you not kind of bored?
Right.
Everyone is bored all the time.
Sure.
So for me, the biggest thing is when I go into a group and I teach communication in a way that no one does. It's not only very interactive, it's very tactical. So I don't really teach soft skills, like I don't teach ideas, I teach tactics, right? Two things happen when I do workshops. One is you see these people and I say, don't do this, literally say this phrase and end it with your example. Like I literally say this exact sentence, do this exact gesture, follow this one methodology. Now get up and do it in front of everyone. And they do it, and people are like, oh, damn, that actually worked.
Yeah.
That's the first one when you can see the change right away. And then the other big thing is when people come up to me and say afterwards, and they say, I've never seen anyone actually like adapt communication for me.
Yeah.
Because most people who are like Toastmasters, whatever, Joe, will be they'll just teach the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But what does connecting with your audience have to do with my 5 minute Scrum update for my database release? That's a project man in front of a project manager.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Totally.
Yeah. So that's what keeps me going. When I see that people are responding and can see the day-to-day use of the tactics I'm seeing, not just as, oh, that was a nice idea. That's what I feel.
So if you had a dream tonight, ran into the 18-year-old version of you, and you had a film projector as a young
Yeah.
person, and you walked up at your age and hit play, and it was a 60-second highlight reel of your life,
Yeah.
would that young version believe that this is the life that you've orchestrated and lived?
No, no, I don't think so. I think the younger version of me, would have been like, we're doing that? Do you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
think, because I grew up, when you grew up with immigrant parents who had to kind of struggle a little bit, it's beaten into you that you have to do the safe, secure route. So I always thought about like, what's the job I'm going to have in terms of like, will I be an accountant? Will I be a lawyer? Will I be a doctor? Will I be a project manager? Like what is the office I'm going to sit in? What is the cubicle I'm going to have? That's what I always thought would happen. So the fact that I don't have any of that would shock them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Of everything that you've done and accomplished,
Yeah.
what are you the proudest of?
I think I'm the proudest of the fact that what I just said before is that I'm so lucky that I can do something that I enjoy
Yeah.
as a job and it's my lifestyle. Like I work 90 like all the time to avoid a 9 to 5 job. I was gonna say a meme I saw, working 90 hours a week to avoid a 9 to 5 job. Like that's fully me.
Yeah.
But I was actually thinking about it on a reel between us, Joe. I was thinking about it actually yesterday when I was on the subway and I saw this homeless person sitting on the subway. And I thought, dude, I am so lucky. I love what I do. I make a good living out of it, and I have this benefit of all these advantages in life, like stupid stuff like I can eat out almost every night and it doesn't really affect my budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I was looking at this gentleman and my heart kind of broke, and then I had, whether it's selfish or not, I had this moment of like, dude, you've made it. Like you're literally living your dream.
Yeah.
You have no boss. You work for yourself. You make a good living. I don't have any set schedule because clients all the time. And that's everything that I just respond to that, which is why I can work for 90 hours. And it's a huge privilege that I feel like I've earned.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For
I don't know
sure.
how to describe it.
Every
Yeah.
every little step. Let me dig in just a little bit further.
Yeah,
Everyone
please.
has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you on a business front, that you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, funny enough, Joe, what instruments do you play?
I actually can play the drums a little bit. I'm better behind the mic. I'm
Okay,
kind of like you. I just have kind of put the instruments
okay,
aside. It's a mystery that I just admire.
okay. I was gonna use it as an analogy, but let me give you a dance analogy. Okay.
Yeah.
When I was dancing professionally, because I was like for a while that was my whole career. Actually, I thought I was gonna be like a lifelong dance performer and trainer. But there's like zero money in it. It's a hard life. My back, you know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
all these
yeah.
things. Uh, every year that I was dancing, I'm like, dude, I'm here. I'm here. I'm like elite now. And then the next year, I'm like, oh, I didn't know anything last year. Fuck, oh my God, I can't even watch myself. I was terrible. And I feel like that every year with this job.
Yeah.
So there's no every year that I think I'm like, this is it. I'm world class. I am world class. Like right now, I feel there's no one, and I hope this doesn't sound too arrogant, but I think it's true from everyone I've seen. There's absolutely no one who can teach the way I teach in the way that I teach from the sources I teach from. No one.
Yeah.
It's a game. What I do is game changing. Last year, I felt the same way. Last year, I'm like, oh no, oh God, that was terrible. Oh no, now I got it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest realization I've had. You're never there. You're never there.
Yep.
There was some great quote: being perfect is impossible. Striving to be a little more perfect than you are is the goal.
That's it. Absolutely. With that being said, if anybody wants to reach out, they want to book you,
Yeah.
they want to get end boring, they want to get better, they want to get to that point. How do they
Yeah.
do that?
You go to hotsexymuffin.com. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm seeing if you're listening.
That's
Get
right.
off the treadmill. Follow Joe.
That's it.
Follow Joe on YouTube. Joe
That's it.
Dimino on YouTube. Okay? You see, this is how you give them the unexpected, Joe. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
it. Because they're all like, what?
Wait, hot sexy muffin. Wait, whoa, how did you know my
Whoa,
search history? You
let's
know?
go. Yeah.
Public Speaking Lab.
Okay. That's
On
it.
Instagram, the website, on TikTok, I am publicspeakinglab.com. You can just, if you want to find the book, you can go to the website or on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, wherever you get books. Just look
Yeah.
for End Boring. And it's a book all about tactics so that you can not be boring when you speak.
I love it. I will put all of these links in the show notes.
Sure.
What a
Absolutely.
wonderful, enlightened conversation. I love what you're doing. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for taking a minute. I got a final
Thank you for
question.
having me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Final question.
Yeah.
As a guy trying to pick up the C note, what was the first concert that you saw in your life that blew you away?
Beastie Boys.
Damn, really?
I saw Beastie Boys
Wow.
when they right after they released Sabotage. I can't remember the album was
Oh,
called. So I remember, and I still have Joe. I still have the cassette,
yeah.
like the cassette,
That's
and
totally hot. That's
it
awesome.
was fantastic. And I was like, body moving, A1 sound and the sound. So I remember just being like,
And they were so talented, those
there's,
dudes. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like all of them they were almost like Prince. They were virtuosic, but they got together and they just made it together so well. It was so
And a
good.
style that no one else had. It was a
No,
style that no one else had.
and
They weren't hip hop, they weren't rock, and when they did hip hop or rock, it was very distinctive.
that's it. And no one will be like him again. They were one in a trillion. They were
Yeah.
wonderful. What a great way to wrap it up, man. So good to meet you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking a minute out.
Thank you, Joe. And please reach out anytime. I
Yeah,
really appreciate you having me.
yeah.
You got a great personality. I was listening to some of the podcast episodes leading up to today, and I love your style of interviewing. It's casual and it's fun. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. No, I love your style too. Thank you so much. I'm going to pick up a copy of your book and we'll be in touch. We'll talk
I'll
about it.
sign it Hot Sexy Muffin. How's that sound?
I love it. That's the only way I'll take it. I love it, man. Travel well, my man.
Thank you so much.
Take
Thanks for
care.
listening, everyone.
Thank you.